What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com, here with a name you know. And if you don't know her, you're gonna. She is spearheading the ROH women's division. She is their world champion. We got Rok-C. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I mean, my gosh, this has been a whirlwind period for you, I'm sure. Uh, ROH is like they've re-energized their women's division. They brought it back, and not only are you leading it, I mean you led it through a tournament, and then this incredible match that we saw, the title match, almost a 20-minute match that we saw. So much to get into here. How has this summer now fall been for you?
Amazing. I feel like honestly it hasn't like really sunk in yet. I'm still kind of like, wait, is this real? Like, what is life right now? But someone told me to like not let the moment sink in, to just like kind of enjoy the moment as much as I can. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
So, how did you get contacted to come into Ring of Honor for this tournament? Because I know there were big plans last year around WrestleMania weekend for before the pandemic happened, obviously, and that put this women's division on hold for effectively a full year. So, at what point did they reach out to you and say, "We want you to come in and be a big part of this"?
Yeah, so around like last year before the right before COVID hit, they were gonna do a tournament, but they were also gonna do like a tryout,
Hmm.
and one person was gonna get a contract from that tryout. And I was super excited for that. And then COVID hit and that didn't happen. And it was like really tough just because like I was really looking forward to that, but then also like just wrestling shut down completely, and it was pretty hard. I think for a lot of people, but then things kind of started running again, and then it was Jonathan Gresham that sent me a
Nice.
message, and he was like, "Hey, like send me your name and your email," and I was like, "Okay, this is random." And then Delirious message sent me an email and asked if he could book me, and I was like, "Wait, what? I went from having a tryout to asking to get booked." So yeah, that was pretty crazy. And then yeah, I went in and then did some stuff for Women's Division Wednesdays, and then that's when Maria called me and was like, "Hey, you want the first ticket to gold?" I was like, "What?" Yes.
So, I mean, that's got to feel really good because that shows just a growing sense of confidence in your work. The fact that Gresham, who helped lead the charge on a lot of that women's stuff for a while,
Yeah.
contact you. Delirious, who is the guy in charge, and then Maria, who had kind of eased into that role. You weren't just getting contacted by like one point of contact; like it was across the board for you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very cool. So, at what point did you? Because I mean, there's always cautiously optimistic, so to speak. You're going into a place that, quite frankly, didn't have a women's division for a while, but it became pretty obvious pretty quick they were serious about it. And if anybody had any doubt, the match with Miranda Alize really put that out there. I mean, you all were out there, semi-main event, 20 minutes. At what point did you realize, okay, this could be a long-term thing for me?
Whew. I think like so we were taping and we were taping the tournament and it hadn't come out yet. And I think like once I left tapings, it was kind of like, okay, like that was fun. But I think it didn't sink in until the footage started coming out, and I was just like, whoa, what? This is crazy. Yeah, and their production team is like amazing. But yeah, like when I watched all that and things started coming out, I was just like, wait, this is getting more real. This is getting more real. Like, yeah.
So we had heard that you had signed an agreement. You and Miranda both signed agreements with ROH. So I mean, they're offering you agreements too. So I mean, it's like one thing after the other. It's like, okay, yeah, they're pretty confident in me. They're pretty confident in me. How does that feel to for that company? Like again, like do you even have time to breathe in that situation where they're like, come in, we want to book you. Here's your ticket to gold. Here's a new agreement.
Yeah.
By the way, title match.
Yeah, yeah, that's why it's like so crazy, especially because of like my age. I always knew I wanted to become a professional wrestler since like I could remember, but and I always had this feeling that like things would just work out. But I never thought that like I'd be accomplishing all these like things like along the way. Like it's crazy. I was the first match to bring back the women's division, and then I got the first ticket to gold, and then I was in the finals, and then yeah, and then now I'm signing. It's like it's so crazy because it's just like wait, like I think that's why it hasn't sunk in because I just like so many things are happening and I'm just like this is crazy, and then it's like another thing. But it makes me so happy because like the fact that like Maria and Jonathan Gresham and Delirious and all of them like just have so much belief in me and see like the potential that I have is really really cool. Like I said, especially because I'm so young and they're kind of like just being like, okay, like here it is, go run with it, and I'm like, what?
And we saw you, I think it was at the end of September, you were still working some indie dates, so you will continue to work the indie circuit while you're under agreement with ROH?
Yes.
So I solicited some reader questions, and I got a couple of interesting ones. A Chelsea Green asks, who helped you get your championship gear made?
It was Chelsea actually.
I'm
she
shocked that she
literally
wanted to put herself over. I'm shocked.
she she literally wouldn't stop asking me. She's like, "Hey, do you have gear for the finals?" And I'm like, not yet." And she asked me again, "Hey, do you have gear for the finals?" I'm like, not yet." She's like, "Okay, we need to get you some gear. Here's my gear maker." She sent me a couple. She's like, "You need to have like really nice gear for the finals." She was so awesome. She's amazing.
I mean, is it how does that make you feel? I mean, she's been on TV everywhere. I mean, even the
Yeah.
last 3 months, she's been on TV everywhere. But I mean, it seems like she's taken a liking to you, even though you're on opposite sides of the ring very often.
No, yeah, she's like one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and I think like especially that like going into a new place like especially Ring of Honor, like it's like bigger production and it's just very like nerve wracking. And she was one of the people that kind of like made me feel like calm and like at home, and I didn't feel like so many nerves just because it was like people like her and like Maria where they were just like just be cool, like this is your
with
home.
with a
And
wealth of TV experience.
yeah, so I'm super grateful.
We had another reader question from Danhausen, who says, "What do you plan to buy with the money you make selling your golden championship to Rick Pawnstar?" He's
That's
he tried to steal my watch one time.
I mean, I don't know, that's kind of a good idea, but I think that I just got signed. I don't want to like
You gotta wait till you get seniority before you're selling titles. Oh man! So this tournament happens. Like, at what point do you find out you're gonna win the world championship? Oh yeah, by the way, one of the youngest world champions of all time. And what goes through your mind when you're given that news? Because it's got to be a special moment for you.
Yeah, it was literally the day of. So like it was even the night before I was just like, like what's gonna happen? And it was just like all those nerves and then like not knowing too. So it was just like, but yeah, they told us like the day of, and I remember when they told me Maria was like, you can freak out. Like you're allowed to freak out right now. But yeah, it was just like just that, like the fact that they believe in me so much because I think like, confidence is so important in wrestling, but I think that that's something that I have struggled with along the way. And I think just like things like that, like just them kind of giving me the torch and being like, yeah, like we believe that you can do this, and like it's such a prestigious title, and for me to like hold that is like it gives me a little bit more confidence, just like accomplishing all these things as I go. It's like okay, like I am capable of doing this, and I'm like I don't know how to say it. It's just like a really good feeling. It's like hard to put into words.
So, I mean, the first thing that made me take note of this and say, oh, this is going to be different was when you beat Sumie Sakai, because she has been the anchor. Anytime ROH has done a women's division, she's been the anchor of it. And there you are beating her in the first round. I mean, you had to feel like there was something there when that happened, because quite frankly, if they don't have big plans for you, you're probably not going to beat Sumie Sakai.
That's true. Um, Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like you said, like she literally like has paved the way for me. And she was the first Woman of Honor champion and won that tournament. So it was kind of like going into that match. It was like they just threw me into the wolves. They're like, "Here's Sumie Sakai, first round," and I'm like, "Okay."
I thought it was really interesting how they did it because like Quinn McKay is like one of these people, she markets herself so well. She's always like on the explore pages on Instagram and all that. She's all over YouTube. And then you're beating another longtime TV star in Angelina Love. So like these are high profile wins for you. Like as this tournament went on, was like something in your head like I think I'm gonna win the title.
For a second, yeah, because I was just like, wait, like, okay, Sumi Sakai, Angelina. If I lose, they're gonna be like, dang, like
Yeah.
Sumi Sakai and Angelina.
And you had teamed with Miranda multiple times on like Women's Division Wednesday, I think Glory by Honor as well. And this was not the first time you all had wrestled each other. I know you all did
No,
Reality of Wrestling, if I remember correctly. Was
yeah.
having that familiarity helpful in that position? Because this was, as I mentioned, a big position. This was 20 minutes on a pay-per-view, semi-main event slot, world title match.
Yeah, for sure. She was actually my first match at Reality of Wrestling, and I was like 16. So it was like kind of full circle to like be wrestling her in the finals. And we were kind of like trained under the same people. So Booker T is one of her trainers and Daga, and same for me. But we never trained together. But I think just like being under the same learning tree, we have like really good chemistry in the ring. Um, and I think like us both being on the same page of like, okay, like this is the finals, and like we have to like exceed
Yeah.
expectations and like even be like have a better match than the guys and just like show everybody like what this tournament was truly about. And I think we were both on the same page with that. So I think it's like that's really cool because we were able to make like magic in there. So yeah.
And one of the things I love so much about the independent women's wrestling scene is like I don't know when you became an adult, but around that period you were already working Thunder Rosa, Shotzi Blackheart, you were working Jazz, you were wrestling
Yeah.
like all these people who had this incredible amount of experience. Was there anybody that you were in the ring with, even up until now, where things started happening and it unlocked the Rubik's cube and you're like, oh my gosh, I see why this is happening, why this is happening, why this is happening, because it's been rapid fire for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I think I wrestled Jazz when I was like I think I was still 16, honestly. And that was crazy to me because I was like, wait, like Jazz, like same for Angelina, but like Jazz has been wrestling longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
It's crazy to just like say that. And like to be put in the ring with her, it was pretty nerve wracking. But I feel like all of these experiences that I've had, like especially on the indies, I was thrown into a lot of like matches with these super talented and experienced women's wrestlers. And then I think that that kind of helped me coming into the tournament because I was thrown in right away with like Sumie Sakai and Angelina. And I think like if I hadn't had those experiences, I don't know, I feel like they definitely helped me coming in.
And we mentioned Reality of Wrestling. Like, what's it like training with under Booker T? Like, like how is that?
It's so cool. So yesterday I was at training and it was crazy because I don't know why. I think it was like it was the first time I had gone to Reality of Wrestling to train since I won the championship.
Yeah.
And I like pulled up and I saw like the World Gym Arena Booker T sign. And it gave me like a flashback to the first time that I actually came to Booker T's. And I remember like pulling up and being like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I can't believe I'm like about to train here. I can't believe I'm about to walk in there. And then like to now, to like he's helped me grow so much from like the moment that I walked in there to now I'm like Ring of Honor Women's World Champion and it's so crazy. But I'm like super grateful for Booker T and his wife Charmel. I feel like they've essentially seen me grow up at Reality Wrestling and they've helped me so much. So it's like really cool.
And I mean, for being so young and already accomplishing so much, it does seem like the people around you, like you couldn't have much of a better situation. Like you've got all these people that have experience all over the place. And
Yeah.
plus, I mean, Ring of Honor is a very polished product as well. So I mean, it's a trial by fire, and you're winning that trial. I mean, the match everybody was calling your match with Miranda Alize match of the night at that show. How did it feel to get that unanimous positive reception? Because there have been a couple times when ROH tried to revamp the women's division and it didn't work out the way they wanted. This was like, okay, this is perfect. This is what everybody's been wanting.
Yeah, it was. It's still like, even when I think about it, I'm like, it gives me the chills, because like I remember, I think it was just like everything was like so perfect in that moment, because like my mom and my stepdad were there and they came to the ring, and then like I walked to the back, and literally like the whole roster was lined up like clapping for me and Miranda, and it was just like crazy, because it was like, what, like uh to just like have that like respect from them. I think that's what I always wanted, especially like being like a woman, being like a women's wrestler. I always wanted like to gain that respect from like people that have paved the way, even like from like the male wrestlers. I just always wanted to be considered like a really good professional wrestler, and I think that like did that for both of us, that finals match. Because like I don't know, like just walking back there and having everybody from like the champions to like everybody on the roster, they were just like clapping for us, and it was like, what, this is wild.
So right before the pandemic, I mean, things were happening for you, but when everybody gets derailed at that point, I mean, the person you just wrestled, Killer Kelly, she was supposed to come over to the United States back then. There were deals in place. People had things that they wanted her to do. She had just left NXT UK. Like she told me how much it changed her life. How did it change your life?
That was really hard. I think like so I started training when I was 13, and ever since then it was just like go, 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 go.
Yeah.
So like every weekend I was traveling, and then I was like taking college classes. I was in high school, so I was dealing with that, and then dealing with um like social life and stuff like that, and just like growing up. And then so I feel like I was always on the go, and then everything kind of stopped, and it was just like, what do I do now? um, and then yeah, and then wrestling wasn't there, and I feel like that was one of like, I'm like really big on mental health, and I wrestling is definitely like, it's my passion, but it's also like an outlet, and I feel like that was like taken away too, and it's kind of like, and so I was kind of like in a rut for a while, and and even like how I said earlier, the Ring of Honor Women's tryout, like that was pretty tough, because it was just like, dang, like I felt like I had been like working so hard, and then like everything just like crashed down. But I also feel like everything happens for a reason, because like I said, it's crazy, because I went from like being asked to have a tryout to here it is a year later, like, hey, like we just want to book you, come on our show. And like, yeah, I just think everything happens for a reason. I think that gave me a lot of time to just kind of like think of things a little differently, and I don't know, I don't think I would have been like mentally ready before the pandemic if I had like gone in.
Sure.
I think it gave me a lot of time to kind of like reevaluate a lot of things, and then now I'm like, I feel like I'm a little bit of a different person, and now I'm just able to like go out and like flourish.
Of course. You mentioned training at such an early age. I mean, which is wild to say because you're at an early age now still, and you're accomplishing all this. Did you have to overcome any stigmas or anything? Because I mean, you know the drill. Like a lot of times, if you're in school and you tell people I'm going to be a pro wrestler, you know like the snide remarks and the looks, and sometimes people's family aren't behind it. Sometimes they are. What was that like for you training at such an early age? Was it tough to find a trainer, like, or was it tough to find places to train, anything like that?
Not really. There was a local wrestling promotion called Laredo Wrestling Alliance in my hometown, and so my stepdad was a firefighter, and his coworker was a wrestler for that
Okay.
promotion, and so he told him about it, and then that's when my dad started taking me to those shows. And we met the promoter, and that's when like I told my mom, I'm like, oh, can you ask him if I can start training? And I was 11 when my mom first asked,
Oh,
and they
wow.
were like, I don't think so. I think like maybe put her into like tumbling, gymnastics. Mom was like, okay, so we did that. And then when I turned 13, I asked her if she could ask again. She asked again, and they were like, okay, bring her in. And
That's
so like we
awesome.
get there, and it's just like a bunch of grown dudes, and my mom's
Yeah.
kind of like, and but all of them like took me pretty serious. Like I think when I went in there, they could kind of like tell that I was very serious about it, and I've been serious about it since I said that I wanted to become a wrestler. And so my first two trainers, George Benavides and Johnny Angel, they were like so awesome. They made it a point to make sure like every time we were at training, like, hey, like just because she's a girl, like don't treat her any different. Um, and like I appreciated that so much because I think uh, just like when I first started training, there wasn't a lot of girls. So like I was the only girl with a bunch of like girl men, and it was kind of like, oh, like I hope they're kind of like taking me seriously. But yeah, I don't think I mean, I think I ran into some stuff like every now and then. I think like one time, I think it was maybe like twice that I had a dark match, and like my family, my whole family was there, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna cut your dark match," and I was
Oh,
like, "Oh man."
no.
But I think it's just like like I guess yeah, the stigma of like, oh, like she's super young, and like she obviously you can't get signed when you're underage. Just so I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people were just like, oh, whatever. But I think like I just like have this crazy passion for wrestling that I was just like, I don't care about that. Like I just want to wrestle and like be like become really, really good so that when it does come that time, like maybe things will happen.
Of course.
But yeah.
So who was the person in the ring that you looked at and you were like, this makes me want to be a pro wrestler, especially like as a child? Like it seems like most people have that distinct vision and they're like, oh well, I got to be a wrestler at this point.
Yeah, so one of my favorite wrestlers was The Rock. But I was a fan of him since like his movies, and I didn't know what professional wrestling was. Then I got into professional wrestling, and
Did
I was
you
like,
did you
"What?"
find out about pro wrestling because of The Rock?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I found it because of The Rock. I was like, I think my dad was like flipping through the channels once, and The Rock was doing like a promo or something, and I was like, "Wait, what? That's The Rock! Like, what is he doing?" And then I just sat through the rest of the show, and I was hooked. But AJ Lee is the reason why I wanted to become a professional wrestler. I think like the first diva that I saw was Kelly Kelly, and I was like, oh, she's amazing. But it was like I couldn't really like relate to her because it was like I didn't look like her. I like I think with AJ, she's like a tomboy, and she's super tiny, and she's Latina, and I think like I related so much to that because I was just like, oh, like I can definitely do this. Yeah.
So who do you look at now? I mean, I hate to ask the dream match question, but everybody, like anytime I'm like, hey guys, what do you want me to ask this person? There's always like 10 things that are like dream match. So what is your dream match?
Oh, my dream match. Honestly, my dream match has been Ruby Soho for like a really long time. I
Nice.
think she's like friggin' amazing. But yeah, like just having a match with her, I think that would be so cool.
And we saw last year during the pandemic, especially AEW was bringing in a lot of independent wrestlers. Now, a lot of those were based out of like Florida, Georgia. I know you're based out of Texas. Did you ever get contacted for any of that?
No, I actually got contacted by oh, I can't remember his name, but he sent me like a DM, but I was already signed with Ring of Honor at the time.
Ah,
Yeah,
QT,
so I was
Christopher
like,
Daniels, one of them.
no, it was he's a wrestler.
Oh, Sean Dean.
Yes, 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 yes,
There
yes,
you go.
yes. Yeah, but I was like, oh, I can't, sorry.
So I mean, that's obviously still worked out pretty well for you. You're in Ring of Honor. You are the world champion. So
Yes.
what do you see next on the horizon? Who are you looking at to come after your championship? Who do you have your eye on?
Whew, so the most recent episode that just came out, Miranda attacked me from behind. So I clearly think that she's a little upset from from not winning, but she asked for a match that way. So I don't know. I guess I have like unfinished business with her, but I really want to wrestle Trisha Dora.
Just
I
signed
think
too.
yeah. So it definitely will happen eventually, but yeah, I think she's amazing. I think like her story is amazing, and I just like I think like our styles in the ring will like mesh really well. But yeah, hopefully that happens.
Well, guys, ROH is very easy to check out. You just go to their website. You can go to Honor Club. You can see every episode of ROH as they drop. Rok-C, tell the people where they can find you on social media. We have your Twitter handle down there, but tell the people where they can track you down.
Yes. So my Instagram is _ ROKC. My Twitter is the Roxy _ My Facebook is the Real Roxy, and then I have a pro wrestling tee stores up, so that's the Real Roxy. And then I have my first Ring of Honor merchandise, so that's on shopofhonor.com, and I have 2 shirts up there.
Guys, check her out. Rok-C, thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, guys, we're out.